And now I have to order, I ordered a COVID test, and I have to make a test of COVID. So
No, I don't understand, Nina. Your one is there for the first time.
physical therapist has COVID, you know, and now I have to test myself too
Okay.
because he has it. And it's the first time I take a test, so
Okay.
I don't know whether it's difficult for me to follow the instructions.
Mm.
I never had it, so
Okay. No.
Yeah. Nina, do you have somebody to help you with the test? Because I do these tests all the time here. And it's not it it might be easy. Is the test you ordered to use saliva, or is it through the nose?
What is it?
The tests you ordered, are they using saliva or through the nose?
The name I don't know is a very reliable one.
Yeah, I don't know why the sound is very unclear today, but they have two kinds. One is testing with your saliva. You spit into a plastic thing, or they stick a little plastic thing up your nose to test your nasal from the nasal passages. Which one are you going to use?
I don't know.
Oh.
I have to wait. It's probably coming tomorrow.
Oh, I hope so. And you get somebody to help you with it. For the first time, I know it's difficult.
Yes.
But after that, it becomes easy to do.
Yeah, I can ask my niece, maybe.
Good.
But I have to ask someone who had COVID already. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I cannot ask anybody.
Yeah, your niece had COVID already?
What is it?
Your niece had COVID already?
I cannot hear you very well.
Your niece had COVID already?
I never had COVID, no.
No, your niece, she had COVID already?
Oh, no, she didn't. So I won't ask her.
Yeah, you have somebody else that
I have nobody. COVID? No, I have nobody to ask.
Oh dear.
I'm alone.
Okay. Yeah.
But my niece says she had the test, and she says it's easy, the instruction.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, yeah, the test is actually very easy.
It's easy to follow.
Yeah, it's not difficult to do.
No.
Is Sarah there? Sarah? Is Sarah there?
She signed up, but I don't see her anywhere. Nobody, just us.
Because I want to introduce Johan. Johan from Switzerland is for the first time here.
You want to introduce who?
Johan.
From China.
From Switzerland.
Oh, from Switzerland.
And she
That's
is
good.
Johan.
That's good.
From South Korea.
Introduce her. You start with this introduction. That's very good. A newcomer is always good.
Yeah. Very welcome, Johan. You are from South Korea.
Hi, I'm Johan.
Oh, Johan. Welcome. I'm glad to see you.
Thank you.
I like very much questions from newcomers, because questions from newcomers are always very good.
Okay. So I need to ask a good question today.
It's good if you have a question.
Well, today I have a birthday party for my son.
But
who
let's
become-
wait till Achan is here.
Oh,
Achan
okay.
will be here in a few
Oh, okay.
minutes, and then you can ask your question. It's very nice. It's very nice. That's Achan. Sawadika, Achan.
Sawadika, Ajahn.
For the Kapajan.
So, now the newcomer from Switzerland. Your name is Yuan, yeah? And you have a question, and that's very nice. And what is your question?
Oh, no, I don't have a question. Jyotika told me about this group, so finally I'm able to come. But actually, I have a birthday party today for 12-year-old son this afternoon.
How old is he?
12.
12 years. Yeah.
12 years old. And so maybe I can have a good energy from this meeting so I can prepare well. Yeah.
I'm sure. But there's nothing you like to know or you are wondering about.
No, I'm open. I have an attitude about openness, so I trust what's coming from this meeting. Jyotika told me about this group, so I'm very I'm curious.
Yes,
It's
very
about being present, right? That's
Yeah.
all I got. So that's what I like also.
Achan likes people who are very curious.
Yes. So glad to be here. Thank you, Nina.
So I have a question. Shall I start with it? Achan, are you there?
Yes, and now here.
Yes, that's good. So I can start a question. You know, when reality appears, it is so fast and only for a very short moment, and like seeing or hearing. And when it appears, it's there and it's gone immediately. But there is panya for the newcomer, that is wisdom, and mental factor which can arise with kusala chitta, with a wholesome mental factor. So when there is wisdom, this can be directly experienced when panya is enough to let go everything that is unwholesome. So I like to ask Ajahn more about the letting go of what is unwholesome. And is it really possible to experience a reality like seeing or hearing, which is so short and so fast and which disappears immediately when it is gone? Is it possible to experience it?
It's matter of how fast it arises of it. Is what is necessary. The truth is that we learn how to understand, not just seeing, they must be hearing things too. But what appears now, just one reality at it. For example, in a moment of seeing, no thought about how fast it arises and focus sensation, but just that hanging on from the very beginning. What is seeing is now seen. So learn to understand its nature as it is. It has its characteristic as just arising. Now, if it doesn't arise, there cannot be anything at all. So at moment of something that is experienced, there must be
seeing is the seeing. So what is seeing? It's just a moment of experiencing that which impinges on it. That's all. This seems like the story, but these are talking about the truth of it. How can there be difficult to understand that there is not only seeing right now, there is hearing too, and when there is the understanding, there cannot be understanding the two together. But to understand that one by one characteristic. For example, at the moment of seeing, you don't have to think how that is, because what appears is not just one single moment. So what appears, it appears the nimitta of seeing. And from the teachings of the Buddha, it does not appear as it rises in succession. It appears as it's that which is seen, so there must be the seeing. But no one pay attention to seeing. Just pay attention to that which you see all day. That's why that be the moment of understanding seeing, and no one notices, because it has reached acquisitions in Foshe insect, never to return. How can it be someone or something at all? Learn just to speak of it, not to be forgotten. So it
Ajahn, your phone is so difficult to hear.
I cannot understand either.
No,
I cannot.
it's not.
Ajahn, we can't, the sound is breaking up. We could not hear you clearly.
It's very, very
She's
difficult.
dropped out. She's just dropped out for a bit. She'll be back.
Oh, she did. Oh, okay. And they have to fix her sound.
Just a
Okay.
technical problem, I suspect.
Yeah.
Yes.
คุณเอ็มเขาไม่ได้ยินกันนะ
No, we can't hear anything.
Can you hear me now?
Not yet.
It's not connected. Just wait. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
So now we are talking about the reality, which is now seeing. That
Yes.
is seeing to understand its nature, because it's there to be known. That usually in a day, there's no attention to that which sees, but the attention paid to the object which is seen all day, and then thinking about the story or nimitta of that and the situation. So even now, the see is hidden, the hear is hidden, because there is attention to just sound or visible object and take it for something. That's why in order to understand seeing, it begins to know the moment what is there. There is seeing for sure, but no understanding of it, that it sees. And if it does not arise, there cannot be seeing, there cannot be the object which is seen. So now is the hidden, the truth from understanding, because no words just talk about its nature, how it's conditioned to arise and then falls away. That is the understanding of that which appears now intellectually, but the moment when it arises and falls away is not known. That's why I begin to understand one by one. Seeing cannot be hearing. And when there is a little more understanding of seeing, by then there can be the understanding of hearing that is different from seeing, little by little, just to be acquainted to the reality which appears as not self, because it's conditioned to arise to see. And it's now sees already, no matter we think about it or not pay attention to it at all. It's there all the time by conditions. And all the time means that there must be the other chittas in between. If Buddha didn't teach about it, who can know what are there from moment to moment? Like, it's not only seeing, there's thinking in between, hearing. That's why learn to understand each one, so that can be the moment of getting close to understand the nature of that one by one, not to mix them all in a moment, to be known as something or I. Can it be started like that? Just seeing?
May I interrupt for you, because we think usually I see, I hear, but as Ajahn explained, these are just the seeing is by conditions, and it is not I see, it is a reality that sees, it hears. Usually we think of self, and as Ajahn explains, we take what we see for something. It means we think that seeing sees a chair or a table, something. But in reality, seeing only sees what impinges on the eye sense very short and very quickly. It's not a table or a chair or a person, just what appears through eye sense.
And that is the way to let go the table or something of that which is experienced. Because the absolute truth is the moment when it's touched or seen or smelled. The nature, the reality which is there cannot be taken for anything, no matter we touch the flower, the bed, the curtain, anything. What appears in truth is only hardness. It cannot be anything at all, no matter we touch all around the shoes, the bed, and so on. What appears is only hardness. So begin to understand what we take for things, for food, for anything. At moment of touching, it's only that which is hard. No apple, no thing at all. Is that true? Just begin to learn to understand each different reality through each different doorways. And the mind just experience what is experienced by the sense door, and thinking about the shape and form as something. Even its sound, different sound. See, it can be the sound of music, the sound of flute, or the sound of knocking, and so on. Different moment and then gone, never to return again, never to arise once more again. That is the truth in life, hidden from birth to death, years and years ago, no matter last life, this life, future life. What are there? Must be seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and then thinking. Only that from life to life. But what is touched, what is heard is different by conditions. because whatever arises falls away, no matter what. The truth is that what appears disappears instantly. Beyond
If I may
expectation.
interrupt for Yuan, your son has a birthday and he will have many impressions from his friends and what people say. But in reality, there are only the 6 doorways, it's called in Buddhism, like eye sense, ear sense, nose, tongue, body, and thinking. And each one has an experience, a reality, only one at a time. And there are not many realities all at the same time, only one at a time. So it may be new for your son too to learn about this, but there can be a beginning of understanding a little the truth that there is only one reality at a time through one doorway.
Just
And
consider
here-
the truth.
I was just, sorry, John. I was just going to say to Nina, and that what you've just shared with him, that boy whose birthday it is today, that is the best gift in the world.
What doorway? It has to be one way, one doorway at a time.
True, Tanajan. Absolutely. I was just saying, though, that Nina was making a comment that there is a woman, I think her name was Ewan. She said it's her son's birthday today. And they were talking about different presents that he might get. And I was thinking that what Nina was sharing with him, although it might sound very new and probably no doubt has never been heard before, but we don't know what sort of accumulations that young fellow has. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, that young person. But to hear the Dhamma is the greatest gift of all. And I was just reminded when you were talking about different gifts, and I thought the Dhamma, as we know, is the greatest gift.
And that's through the mind, though.
Jinka.
So we think of self all the time, and that I experience a thing or a person. But in reality, it's all different. We have the conventional notions of self and person and things, and we have what the Buddha taught, the absolute realities, what is really true for one short moment and then gone immediately. And that is the truth he taught us, so that we cling less to an idea of self and person.
I wonder, Ewan, if you're listening, do you have any questions? Because I imagine that this is very new for you.
If we don't talk about this moment, there cannot be any understanding of what are there. Even there is thinking right now. Keep on thinking about people and things and the story and situation. But what is that which thing? Without thinking, can there be the dream world of people and things?
Well, it must be, Tanajan, most of the time, just a dream world, which we think is very real.
That's why I begin to wake up to the truth. What is
Yes.
sin? It's not what it's heard. Different moment, they are gone now. Every moment, secret.
There always seems to be people here, though, Tanajan.
Hearing about the truth, consider it, have more understanding of the truth, more confidence. No one at all. See, even thinking is gone, confidence gone from moment to moment. That's why each moment is lost, never to return at all.
How do we help the newcomer, Tanajan? How can we help the newcomer, Tanajan, to appreciate that there's nobody here when they are convinced there is?
And in order to understand better, keener, there must be study or learning about the truth of that which appears. For example, what is seeing? There is seeing for sure. Birds see, everyone sees, children and so on. But seeing cannot be anyone at all. It's the arising and falling away. Even under the water, the fish sees and so on. Nobody can change the seeing to arise, just to experience that which is seen. No idea about that yet. At this moment of touching, no idea about the hardness, because hardness is there in a moment. There cannot be the word for it to take it for something, because each moment of experiencing hardness. That's why each moment, the reality which arises to experience the object one by one, not understanding the very absolute truth that when it's not there, it's gone. But it keeps like it's there all the time by the same experience, seeing, so on. But the object which is seen is different. And the seeing is different too. This is the breaking world. Nothing can last at all.
Yes, Johan, we think there is a long moment of seeing, and we see people and things and table and chair, but in reality, it's only just one very short moment, and then there is thinking already about what is seen. So we confuse seeing and thinking about what is seen. And that's why Ajahn says, it's gone already, the seeing is gone. And when there is the touching of hardness, the touching of hardness is gone, it's gone already. But we think many things about what we touched, the table, the person, anything, any object. But in fact, that's only thinking. So the world, like the Buddha taught, is really quite different from what we always thought before. It's really quite new. I can understand that it must be difficult for newcomers to get that.
Thinking about the accumulation of ignorance and attachment, how long? So how can just a moment or some moment only of understanding can let go of wrong view, wrong understanding, and clinging to that as something all the time? As soon as one opens one's eye, so many things appear. Is that true? Never like that at all. Just that which impinges on the eye, not the whole table, the whole bed or flower at all. Only that which can impinge on the eye beds, which is so very, very tiny. And because of the succession of the arising and falling away, condition, shape, and form to be remembered as something is known. It makes known as a chair or a table, but in truth, touching it, no chair. Seeing it, no chair, because what is seen is there to be seen and then gone. Because at moment of touching, there cannot be seeing, or at moment of seeing, there cannot be hardness appearing. The truth is that. That's why have firm confidence of the truth. Nobody can change. That's why without understanding the absolute truth, of its nature. Nothing can let go the idea of something out of that which appears as nimitta, shape and form. But it can break down into just a moment. Hardness cannot be anything. That which is seen cannot be taken for anything, but the appearance of shape and form condition the idea. It makes known as this is flower and that is a pen and so on. But without the minder, how can it be known as something? Because seeing just sees, and the whole process, different jittas experience the same object, only that which is seen. It cannot be anything taken to be such and such.
And the word nimitta you heard, that is a sign of reality, because one moment of seeing cannot be experienced as so short, but there are many other moments of seeing that follow. And so they can be like a sign of what is seen. Nimitta, it's called in Pali.
That's why we begin to understand the truth. One lives in the world of nimitta from birth to death. Only 6 doorways can appear in life. Even there are many moments of experiencing in between, not by way of the seeing, but as it does not see, how can it be known? The citta before seeing, the citta after seeing cannot be known because it does not perform the function of actual seeing, experiencing that which impinge on the eye base. And it arises at the eye base to experience that, while the other moment experience the same object in the process, but it does not arise there to see the object so clear. But no understanding, no kusala and akusala, because it's just moment of experiencing an object by many conditions too to arise. Without condition, nothing can arise. And there are more than one condition. For example, how can there be the reality which is the base for seeing to arise? Different condition from hardness at the other moment, experiencing the other part of the body.
And when you heard the word kusala and akusala, that kusala is what is wholesome, like helping others is wholesome, or having compassion is wholesome. And the akusala is unwholesome. That is when there is aversion or hate and you don't want to help anyone, then there is akusala. So these kinds of realities follow upon each other. Excuse me now, my home care is calling me for a moment.
And no understanding of what is there as it is. And moment of understanding that is a reality, different, right? No understanding is kusala, wholesome or unwholesome, and understanding the nature of that which is now appearing, understanding correctly, is it wholesome or unwholesome? That's why learn to understand why it's wholesome and why it's not wholesome. Ignorance, not understand the truth. Even the truth now appears as seeing sees, and that which is seen is that appearing too. No understanding, because the succession of the rapidity, the nimitta, condition the idea and cling to that as something. When the moment of experiencing directly, the moment when it arises and falls away, how can there be clinging? It's gone already. But when it does not appear as that, there is moment of not knowing the truth, taking it for something instantly. as long as there's no understanding of the moment when it arises and falls away. And is it arise? Does it fall away? When it's true, it's true. And it can be gradually get closer to the truth. Because the subtlety of that which arises and falls away, so very, very fast does not appear as just only one reality. They appear as nimitta of a reality and nimitta of things shape and form as something. Looking is something, hearing is something, the sound is something. Because usually there is the idea with ignorance and attachment. What is that sound? Can anyone tell me? What's that sound? There must be attachment with ignorance, not understanding that it is a reality and it's heard. It cannot be touched. It cannot be seen. So no one can change the characteristic of that which arises to be sound, to be heard. It's all the time in life, 6 ways, one way at a time, with mind process in between. Experience that which has been experienced to the sensor, so very rapidly together as something all the time. But learn to understand each moment as it is. No one there at all. At moment of seeing, how can there be anyone? Because it's conditioned just to arise to see and then gone. So ignorance is it akutala, unwholesome, and right understanding, understand the truth, wholesome or unwholesome. Begin to understand what is meant by wholesome and unwholesome. With this ignorance, it conditions attachment instantly to that object, and the understanding of the truth gradually let go what is taken for something, because beginning to understand the truth, the nature of that as it is, no one.
There always seems to be something, There always seems to be something.
Understand what is true and what is not true. That's all. It doesn't mean that one should try to hasten the moment to experience the arising and falling. Not at all. Just begin to understand firmly about the truth. Never change, because no one can change the truth. See is this. Hearing cannot see, no one at all. But we just arise to see and then gone. Sunyata, never come back again. Beginning to understand sunyata and anatta, no one, and all gone, absolutely, never to return. So can that be object of attachment as before, when it's not there, and beginning to understand that nothing is there at all, just for a moment, very shortly, and then gone forever. Only once in samsara, the circle of birth and death. And what is sankara? Excuse me, what is sansaravata? To turn around, travel around what? 6 ways. Only 6 ways. No matter we think that we go there or here or beyond this, what is there is only 6 ways. Just travel around the 6 way, from eye to ear to nose to tongue to body and mind. What else?
That's all, Tadanjang. The 6 doorways.
Traveling.
Traveling, yes, going here and there all the time, going to the different, going to different.
In life, no matter we think that we are here and then we go there, 6 ways. not more than that. Just travel around 6 doorways. No one, only the way it is. After seeing, there must be mind process, taking it which is seen and think about it, remember shape and form, has the idea of something. And I, on and on and on, from moment to moment, from life to life. Very difficult, very deep to understand in order to let go. Wrong understanding. Taking it for something permanent, even right now. Nothing's gone. But actually, everything's gone. And this is the only way to let go. Wrong understanding, ignorance, and attachment from life to life. Unwholesome. Ignorance cannot be wholesome because it conditions other unwholesomeness, attachment, aversion, stinginess, and so on.
Maybe in answer to Sundra, hi, Yawan, this is Shanti. I'm not sure if I say your name correctly. Although it's not at all the goal, when there is more understanding, and these, I'm talking just about moments, it's like the sun shining through the clouds, and then very soon the clouds cover it up again. But when there is understanding, in my experience, and maybe others can share it too, there is no domanassa Vedana, there is no mental pain, there's no mental suffering. That's my experience in very daily life. And also, even if the clouds appear again, there are moments when this is seen, and when there is daily life understanding, so intellectual understanding, how silly or how much of an illusion this all is. And it takes away a lot of load that we or I give to it as being so heavy and difficult in life. So that's what I wanted to share. And it's not the goal at all, but also with Sila, because of understanding, there's much more compassion and kindness and understanding why others appear to hurt us or do stupid things. I'm talking about politics, but yeah, it helps very, very much when there's a little understanding. Thank you.
Does anyone like to stop the way it is, to change it? Right or wrong thinking. But to understand the truth, as there's no one, all depends on conditions, whatever arises. It cannot be expected at all. What would be the next that would arise? Who knows what is the next moment? Impossible by conditions only. It can condition more confidence of the truth, but actually there is no one and no thing. What is taken for things and people are only different realities. That which arises to experience and that which cannot experience. it keeps on going, arising and falling away. And when that which is the unknown, it conditions the ignorance and attachment to I deeply. And without the reality which arises to experience, can there be I, people, dog, cat, snake? So seeing is not a dog, it's not a cat, so it's not me or anyone.
Seeing is a reality.
I didn't hear that, Shanti. What did you say?
I said seeing is a reality, a Dhamma, Paramatta Dhamma.
How come?
And I guess again, Johan, what we're always talking about is what we learn is real because there are realities. And to me, it was important to know that it's not a nihilism. It's not saying everything is illusion, not at all. The Buddha was pointing to what is real. There are realities, but they're not the ones we're used to take for realities, but they are definitely also realities.
And they arise by conditions.
For many of us who've been listening to the teachings even for many years, we get used to the words, and we get used to the words of not self, not me, not I. And but even for us, we are not used to the characteristic which is not I, which is not self, which is not me. So it's even for us, it's still we are still all beginners. So we're just used a little bit more used to the words, but that's not what the Buddha really wanted us to get used to. Must be much more than that, and that's the real challenge, the real path, the real the real understanding of the truth of this moment of what is of what is real now, and which is not me, not I, and not self. But it's at the beginning, even the words sound strange and not. We are not used to even to the words. Yeah,
What Alberto is showing at this moment is sila. There is, when we start to understand how little we do understand of reality, there is modesty. And that's the opposite maybe of arrogance. And of course, we're only talking about moments because arrogance is also a Chaitasika, a mana reality. And it's very natural to come up. So even when it does come up, it's again a good lesson to understand. We don't need to make a big story of it. But I was just pointing to, like in daily life, how Alberto is, it's because of the understanding. And he knows a lot, although he says he doesn't, but he could be very arrogant about that. So just an example.
Alberta, I think what you were trying to say is that even after so many years of having, as compared to newcomers, after so many years of hearing the Dhamma, we are still only beginning to understand the difference between understanding and just thinking about the different concepts, right?
yeah. We listen, and we learn. We need to learn. We need to learn because it's such the ignorance is so much, which just listening a little bit is not enough, or even a lot. Even listening a lot is not enough because ignorance is much more than a lot. It's let's say huge. It's like something you can see the end of. It's 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 and until there is the realization of this huge this huge ignorance, that there is no realization of it, because it looks like it's not ignorance. Who would like to think oneself as ignorant person? I wouldn't like, but I am. So thank you, Chanti, for
And just
for a
before
nice
Betty has her hand up,
Yes.
I'm trying to explain one thing to Yvonne. When Constantine says it's impossible that thinking wouldn't appear anymore and ignorance, because of so much accumulations as for such a long time. And there, Kusujin means eons and eons, uncountable time. And maybe in daily life, a metaphor would be like evolution. And it's a passing on, although every moment is new. And but the accumulations, what is passed on from chitta to chitta, and chittasikas, and well, anyway, in shorthand, it's
Yeah.
long.
Yes, like Chanti just
Excuse me a
said.
second, Nina, because I had my hand up. What Chanti just said is really excellent, and we need to have for our beginners the understanding of accumulations. But I wanted to go back to what Sukin said, because I think what he said was extremely important, to learn to understand the difference between merely thinking and actual banya arising, actual understanding. So I would like Sukin to perhaps elaborate on that point.
I think Achan would be better at that. Let Achan do it.
Okay, that would be
Achan,
better. Sure, please.
Can you say anything?
Yes, Tanadan, Sukin had brought up the point of the difference of learning or understanding the difference between mere thinking and actual understanding of a reality. What can a beginner or even later beginners like us, how can we tell the difference? I think an explanation of this would be very good for our newcomers and for everybody.
Yes.
There's no sound.
Ajahn, are you there? Did you hear us? Ajahn, are you there?
It's like no one doesn't know about what it's thinking, but actually it's only thinking about thinking, right? For example, it's seeing and there's thinking about seeing, but not the moment of understanding the reality, which is that sees. When that or otherwise we think about seeing, it sees. That's why to have the intellect understanding about the truth of whatever, it's not the moment of directly experience it with understanding. For example, touches, hardness is there. No, everyone knows it's hard, but is there any understanding of hardness? That is nothing. It's not a power or anything at all. It's just hard. And at that moment, when there is the experience hardness without understanding, it is hard too, but no understanding that it's there by conditions, just when it appears, no matter what. It's just when it appears. When it does not appear, we think that it's still there, but in truth, it's gone. So what is the truth? At that moment of whatever experience through the 6 ways, condition, life, and situation, and happiness, everything. But in truth, there are different realities conditioned to be the sense process or the mind process, hearing or thinking or seeing. That's all. Is that not true? What is now, what we say or what we take it for seeing, it's a moment of not seeing.
It thinks, it's not hearing because it thinks. But we talk about it. But at the moment when it experiences not through the Jakku Dwara or ideas, it cannot be the same. Because at the moment of seeing, it's a moment of thinking. Because at the moment a reality arises just to experience only one object, which is sin. But now they see that they are together, right or wrong. Can it be known just one by one as it's different, as it cannot be together? But what is the truth? And right understanding of the truth is a reality, not I or anyone at all. And it's conditioned by hearing about the words of truth and consider carefully what is right and what is wrong. For now, there is thinking, not seeing. We think about it, we understand it, but not the moment when it's there, just want to be known. Much different. When they are all together now and we think that thinking is not seeing, it's true, but it's not the right understanding at moment of when it appears just one. Much different. When they appear together with the other thing and when it appears as only one. What is clear? And it is only one at a time appearing one object. And the intellectual understanding, when it's firm enough, it can pay attention to the truth, not just heart, but the truth is that it's not anything at all, not the soap, not the toothbrush, nothing. Only hardness when it's there. But when it's not there, we think that it's kept somewhere. But in truth, not at all. No one can keep the reality, which is conditioned to arise at false way, completely, absolutely, never to return at all.
And Acha spoke about intellectual understanding, because we can intellectually understand what the Buddha taught. But this can later on condition direct experience of the truth without there being any words necessary. And that is the direct understanding. So there are different levels of understanding.
And what is clearer?
And the direct understanding is much clearer and can eradicate unwholesomeness.
When the object appears just one, in truth, it can condition either ignorance, attachment, or right understanding, depending on conditions. Before hearing about the truth of it, heart does appear as something all the time. And then after hearing, considering, understanding that it cannot be anything, hardness is only hardness, and it's there only when it appears. As soon as it does not appear, it's not there anymore. Gone, absolutely. Never to return in samsara, not just only in this life. So life is just the flux of the reality conditioned to arise and fall away, non-stop, endless. When there's no understanding of the conditions, which condition whatever arises, and there is less attachment, so it can let go little by little, the clinging to that as something or I, or anyone, or the world. So in truth, whatever arises falls away, only one at a time. Sunyata appears, nothing more, all gone. And anatta, no one can change the way it is. And the truth, the absolute truth that Buddha has enlightened is this. Not just think about it, or not just a moment of touching and think about the truth of hardness, but direct experience more than anyone can imagine. No one can imagine the Buddha's understanding, how great. So we can know him only when there is the understanding of the truth of his word. For example, what appears now, not in anyone's control, or no one can make it arise, it's there already, and it's not known. So in order to have right understanding, it has to be right understanding of only that which appears. We don't mind whether it is the meter of many moments of that reality, but as it's there, it can be understood little by little. What appears is that what is seen, not anything, not no people, no thing at all. And more confidence of the truth to condition the moment of understanding what is there directly. In the beginning, the direct awareness is not direct enough because as the other objects appear, until there is more understanding, letting go the other characteristic, and there is more understanding of that as it is, nothing in it. It's only that which is experienced, no matter it's now, that which is seen or heard or touched. The world of just split seconds of the arising and falling away of Dhamma realities. Just to consider whether it's true or not, and right understanding of the truth develop. Then there's more understanding of the truth, little by little, before it can let go what is, because there is understanding of that more enough to condition the moment of a little more understanding.
Jotika, do you want to say anything?
No, I try to follow.
Yes.
I try to follow. But the
We all try to follow because it means we have to hear everything simple many, many times. It's never enough. No matter we are beginners or we have studied a longer time, we have to hear again because we don't expect to understand straight away what the Buddha taught. That is not possible because of the accumulation of ignorance. Accumulation means a citta as a moment of consciousness, experience, maybe ignorance, and it falls away. But it is never lost because it passes on to a next citta and on from this life and a next life. And so we have accumulated a lot of ignorance. But there can also be a new accumulation of more understanding of the truth, but it goes very slowly and little by little.
If I may add something, what John told us just a few minutes ago was extremely important. She talked about hearing and considering, hearing the truth, reading about it, having what is called pariyatti or intellectual understanding first, to understand what, to have this intellectual understanding first. There's also needs to be in the process of the growth of understanding, needs to be understanding of how conditions work. For instance, a thought or anything that is experienced is conditioned to arise, meaning it will arise because these factors A, B, C, D, E are present and they will arise. It also is important to understand the characteristics of reality. the anatoness of them, the anicca-ness of them, the dukkha-ness of them, i.e., the notion that they are not self, they're not us or objects. They are not with shape and form. They are not a sound that you identify, you say the sound of a bird or something like that. It is just sound. It is just visible object. And the nature of these, how they arise and fall so quickly, that is the impermanence or the anicca-ness of it. And also, she talked about the dukkha-ness of it. Things are, we understand that things are impermanent, things are not the way we want them, because out of ignorance, we think there's a we here who wants something or who thinks this and that about the realities of the rise that we think has shape and form. Okay. Also, when understanding arises, it's a very deep, I guess, thought in the mind, and it's something so different that you may or may not be able to recognize it. That I know that sounds, but it may or may, but that's why a very, as John said, a very firm understanding of what you read or intellectual understanding is very necessary in order, as a condition for understanding to later arise. All right. So the best thing, Johan, that you can do is to get one of the books that Ajahn has written or Nina has written, and that explains the Dhamma, and read these books, think deeply about them, i.e. consider, and then you will have many questions to ask. And in clarification of the answers that you receive, when the conditions are there, some understanding will arise, but then again, it needs patience. So basically that's, so if you begin with reading and listening, okay? Welcome to our group.
Yes, it should begin with reading, but also you should know that even we think of a reality, we have to know from the beginning that nobody can make anything arise, and that it arises by conditions. So from the beginning, there should be the right understanding that it is beyond control. We cannot control seeing, we cannot control hearing, but it is arising already, because it has, we say we have conditions. Conditions, we use that word very often. It means other realities which makes a certain reality arise. It's all very complex.
And there are conditions that make Yvonne have interest to listen. And there are conditions that make it possible for you to be on a Zoom and for us. And there are also conditions that give us moments that we're bored or not even in this Zoom hearing, but thinking about how our hair is or something. Yeah, lots of conditions every moment changing.
Yeah, it is by conditions that Johan is here today and that her son has a birthday, and maybe there can be some understanding already of what the Buddha taught about that realities are not self, not a being, not I, but just arise because of conditions.
And this is where Kunzujin always reminds us that it has to be natural. So we cannot force understanding upon ourselves, but not on others either. And this again brings in daily life respect for others who have different conditions and may have different interests and maybe follow rituals, we have understanding that conditions are like that. And well, something else is that when we're thinking about others, others are concept for us as well. It's just thinking.
Thanks, Tam. Hello, Nina. Hello, Ajahn, everyone. Yes, we're back in Sydney now. Just
nice to see you. I'm so happy you are here.
You're happy to be back. We had a very long flight. Our first flight was late and we had a very tight connection for the second one. And amazingly, our bag, everything came.
All my
Anyway, everything fine.
conditions. All my conditions.
All just busy getting unpacking and having to shop because we've been away for so long, and clean and having had a whole night without sleeping properly. Anyway, glad to see everyone here. And hello, Jyotika, and hello, Johan. Good to see you here. And Johan, you live in Switzerland, is that right? I heard at the start, yes. And what is your background interest in Buddhism, Johan? Did you study or meditate with Jyotika before?
Yeah, indeed. I meditate my whole life.
Yes.
Yeah, I was grown up in very Buddhist background, and so both in Mahayana and Theravada, so both in Korea and in Burma, and now in Europe. And my recent interest is reading suttas, and before also I studied the Abhidhamma. So yeah, and then Jyotika was telling me, she's my good Kalyanamita friends. She said, "There's interesting group, you know, you should come on Saturday morning." And so I said, "Yeah, good, why not?" You know.
Well, you're already familiar with many Pali terms, so that's not the big obstacle for you that it is for other people. Yes.
So thank you for all the kindness. You know, I'm trying to get used to all these words you are using, because even if it's the same Pali word, different group use different context. So I was listening and following, and what is the core here?
And when you used to study Abhidhamma,
yeah.
How do you understand the Abhidhamma? What is the Abhidhamma for you?
I find Abhidhamma is very analytic, and then trying to see all the phenomena in a very micro level. And also I'm a psychologist, so I liked it in some way. So maybe I can ask some question now. The questions.
My background also as a psychologist, so I understand where you're coming from. Yes. The first point is when we study the Abhidhamma. So I think you've heard people talking about the truth now, the reality now, like seeing now or hearing now, and you're used to learning about different Vedana, different Sanya, different memory, different feeling, and so on. So can the Abhidhamma be now instead of something analytical in the book?
Well, it can and it cannot, because Abhidhamma and has also is a concept, in my view. Too many, I say, it's also concept. So what's now really, you know? That's usually my question in daily life. What is now? You know? Of course, I can name it with a different conceptual name, what's now, but what is the experience level? You know, what do I experience? So how to say, I studied many things, but this moment I try to simplify. Because when I trying to name the concept, it's already going to the mind. And then when I focus in my mind and thinking, and there is a pressure. So just when I was listening today, a lot of concept, at some moment, there was a pressure and tension. So intentionally, I just let it go and then let it come. Whatever comes to the mind was present. That's
And
how I was following. Yeah.
And usually we have the idea of what I experience and what I simplify and what I understand. But can we say that in truth, as the Buddha taught, there are just different dhammas, different realities, those dhammas that experience an object like seeing and hearing, and those dhammas which don't experience anything, such as the visible object seen or the sound that's heard, so that what we take for being my experience or my simplification or my understanding is just thinking about different
exactly.
dhammas.
Exactly. That's already going to the thinking, you know, and tension. So
I am experiencing, I am seeing, but actually there's just a moment of seeing now, which sees, no I that sees, just a moment of experiencing, but no one that experiences. And for us, when we talk about the Abhidhamma, we can say the Dhamma refers to any kind of reality, and Abhidhamma just means the very subtle reality. So seeing now, it seems so obvious that it's seeing that sees, not I that sees, but actually it's very subtle to understand. And this is what Abhidhamma is. So to me, Abhidhamma is not a theoretical construct, not something in the text to be learned and memorized. And like you, I have a background as a psychologist. So I also came because of the interest in understanding more about life and realities. So what I don't want is another set of theories and constructs, but what is practical and pointing to the truth now. And this is what Abhidhamma is, as I understand it. It's the truth about the subtle reality of life at this very moment. So I think that what the Buddha taught is not just something in the book, but it is life at this moment. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sure. But what I'm saying is not the Abhidhamma is not truth or not, you know. What I wanted to say, my intention was even self and I is a concept, you know, and then like sometimes we are using too many this, you know, this is a basic and very good tool to know, but what is now really, you know, is a experience level, then most of the time we don't need even the concept, because whenever we try to grasp the concept, we are losing the moment. So that's why after all this is just, you know, I mean, how to say, just trying to be simple and what's now, you know, what's there.
So let's just talk simply about what is now. So what is now? We have to use, to communicate, we have to use some words to communicate. Otherwise, we don't know if we're talking about the same thing. So in simple language, how would you describe what is now? What is life now?
When I say I'm using the word what is now, then whenever I like have question, then the mind goes to the present moment, and that's quite, for me, there's a usually Vedana, pleasant Vedana and nothingness, and so it's just gone. So for me, it is like a mantra for me to be present and, you know, just be here and now and focus.
And what is pleasant Vedana now? Does pleasant Vedana experience or is it experienced now?
Yeah, it's there, but it's changing. So because like when there's hearing and then there's a different Vedana, but when like I said, when I do mantra, what now, then there is a kind of tuning the mind, just being there with nothingness, mostly. Then there is a pleasant feeling because of the concept of nothingness. Yeah.
And is the pleasant feeling, is it a nama or is it a rupa? Is it a reality that experiences the object, or is it a reality
this is mind,
that is
because mind object is the contact with the mind object of nothingness. That's why there is a pleasantness from the mind. contact with the mind. Yeah.
And what about at the moment of hearing? Is there pleasant feeling there?
Hearing, or there's a touching to the ear, so mostly is a bit of a tension or hardness, and yeah. But then also mind goes to the trying to listen, understand the content, then goes to the like a mind object, of course. Yeah. But when
So can we say at a moment of hearing, there is just the hearing which hears and just sound which is heard, and afterwards thinking, yes, about the meaning of the sound, meaning of the words, meaning of the constructs that are thought about. But at the moment, there is the reality which hears, the Dhamma, which experiences the object, and the sound is just that which is heard. And at the moment of hearing, the Vedana is neutral feeling, no pleasant feeling, no unpleasant feeling at the moment of hearing. Just
no,
at
yes,
that moment.
yeah, it's unpleasant, or sometimes even neutral or unpleasant, because the sound itself is giving the pressure or touching, and yeah, like a da, you know. So.
And this is thinking about it, because at the moment of hearing itself,
that's what I'm saying, moment of hearing your voice. So when the attention goes to hearing the sound itself, there is this touching, continuous, like a knocking the ear.
Is that thinking about the sound that has been heard?
Then no, that's not the thinking. Then now I need to answer, then I should think about, oh, what was the meaning, you know? Then the mind goes to the thinking. But again, there's a pressure, because it's you know, like trying is pressure.
So this is not the hearing. So at the moment of hearing, the hearing hears the sound, no pressure, no knocking, no pleasant feeling. It's just the hearing which hears with neutral feeling, and the passa contacts the objects. So the hearing is a nama, the feeling is a nama, the passa is a nama, all experiencing the sound, gone instantly. And then immediately there's thinking about the shape, the pressure, the kind of sound, not even in words. So it shows how little is understood about just sound that is heard now.
I don't think so. I mean, it's my, I don't know, there's a feeling of unpleasantness right now, because Sarah has already answered to give me, and then give me the direction while I was expressing what is experiencing right now. So now I will decide, let you do, because there's obviously message you want to give me. And yeah.
Because we're looking at the subtle dhammas as taught by the Buddha.
I get it, Sarah. I'm not saying it is bad or good. You know, I'm here with the open mind, but I have a question. Can I ask questions?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So Sujin. So before you when Nina was asking question, there was word of nimitta comes. And the nimitta you are using was, if I heard correctly, because you know, nimitta you said is a sign of a reality. Did I hear correctly? And then, so what is? Yeah.
Shall we talk about this moment of seeing? What is seen? See, what is seen generally, as soon as it's there seen, what is seen? In truth, can sound be seen? Can smell be seen? Really?
No.
Just be truthful to that very moment which sees what is seen. Only that which appears to seeing, right? Not to hearing or thinking. So that which is seen is a reality. It's so true because it is seen now. But the nature of it, the truth of it is hidden because what is seen cannot be leaf or flower or an owl or doll or anything at all. It's only that which can impinge on the eye base. And when it's there, seeing, experiencing it, and there is a reality, marks and remember the object as it is, no matter it's light brown or blue or whatever, no word at all. Because only the characteristic of that is seen, not the word. That's why there is that which marks and remember. And when the seeing has gone, at the moment, just see again and again, between many, many moments in between. Because we learn later what are there in the process of seeing, and after that, and on and on. So now the rapidity of the arising and falling away of all dhammas, which is conditioned to arise, does not appear at all. What appears is only that can be known, which sanya, the reality which arises to mark and remember it. Otherwise, there cannot be any idea of anything without the reality which is there together at any moment of experiencing anything. It's there, mark and remember, mark and remember every object until it becomes like the story or the shape and form of what is seen, or even the hearing, different sound by that which marks and remembers. But what is heard, no matter harsh or pleasant, it's just that which is heard at moment of hearing, no idea about it, because that which impinges on the ear base just is there for a while and then gone. And as soon as it's gone, it cannot be object of hearing anymore. That is now, at moment of seeing, there's no hearing. Because each reality arises and falls away so fast. But what is left is the mark and shape and form to be remembered and taken it for something. Arms, ears, legs, shoes, and everything. Until it becomes a house or a room, many things together. But in truth, just one moment only, which arises to experience only that which can impinge on the base, like eye base or ear base, nose base. When it is smell, when smell appears, there must be the reality which experiences smell, that very smell only. And this is how short it is. In a moment, and then another moment, and then another moment, unknown. Not just one moment now. And that is what the nimitta, because only one reality, one moment cannot be object of understanding. Because it does not appear. For seeing, there must be the reality which experiences that which impinges on the eye base. But that moment does not perform the function of seeing, but it's there, adverting to that object. It does not appear. And the citta after seeing does not appear. So what appears now is only the nimitta of the reality from birth, experience all the time, but actually different ones. But it appears as nimitta of seeing, of hearing, of thinking, or whatever is there. Because just one moment, how can it be known? Gone instantly. And the other moment followed instantly. So the arising and falling away of each reality cannot be known at all. What can be known is only the nimitta arising to be remembered as is that, and as that, and as is that, different ones. That is the nimitta, eyes, of air, of plate, of apple, and so on. Is it true? What appears is nimitta, because only one short moment cannot be the object at all, according to the process that has to be there by conditions. And moment of liking is not moment of seeing. And many chittas in between too, not known because they do not appear. So the world, no matter what world, what can be known is only through the 6 ways: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. What more? 6 ways. And by conditions, some can have only 5, blind, or 3 or 4, depending on conditions too. The word of truth, it has to be as true as it is by condition.
And this is the present moment. Seeing now is the present moment, hearing now, but whatever arises falls away instantly. And this is what is the meaning of nothingness or sunyata. The seeing now has gone immediately, but this clinging to what is left, clinging to the sign of the seeing, but the seeing itself has completely gone, nothing at all. But there's always another reality appearing, always another chitta arising. So one chitta arises after the other in rapid succession. This is why there is the nimitta of what is left, the sign of what is left. So nothingness doesn't mean no experiencing at all, but whatever arises in experience has to fall away immediately. This is what is nothing, sunyata.
And maybe Sarah, you can explain how rapid. It's not a normal moment, daily life moment, but very, very rapid.
I think it is very normal, very daily life. So the understanding develops of just what is there and what is very normal in daily life. But normally it's covered up by ignorance. For example, what is seen is taken to be something or someone, and it seems to last, and it seems that there is pleasant feeling about what is seen, and so on. That is because there's no understanding that the reality itself has fallen away instantly, and there is the idea of lastingness. It seems light all the time. There's no understanding that what is seen, the lightness, has gone in a flash, and the rest of the time the world is dark. So the ordinary life doesn't change. Life is just as it is, but understanding begins to penetrate the cloak of darkness that covers up the truth little by little. So this is why I was mentioning about the Vedana, because sometimes people have the idea that what is experienced or touched is Vedana or a sensation. But at each moment of experiencing, there is a Vedana arising with the experiencing. At the moment of seeing or hearing, it's neutral feeling. At the moment of bodily experience, it's pleasant or unpleasant. At the moment of clinging or liking, pleasant feeling. At the moment of understanding, usually pleasant feeling. So little understanding, and we mix up all these different realities and take it for my experiencing or my attempt to understand, not understanding that they are just different nama dhammas which experience an object, and rupa dhammas that don't experience anything, like visible object or sound. And Vedana is a nama dhamma. It experiences the object with the citta that it accompanies in a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral way, and falls away instantly. But usually all day there is clinging to pleasant feelings, looking for pleasant feelings, not appreciating that what is clung to has already gone, is nothing, of no significance whatsoever.
Sarah? Do I understand you, Sarah? Sorry, that even one citta moment you consider as daily life?
Because this is the truth of daily life now, whether there ever was a Buddha or not, whether there was any teaching of the truth or not, whether there's any understanding of that truth or not. There are just moments of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, arising and falling away instantly. So the truth in daily life is exactly the same. It doesn't change. What is changed is the understanding can begin to penetrate the truth little by understanding the nimitta of the characteristic of realities. The seeing itself has arisen and fallen away countless times, but the image of seeing can be understood by panya, the sign of seeing itself, the characteristic of seeing can be understood. So this is the great miracle of the Buddha's teachings, that however complex and however subtle the truths of life, it is possible for understanding to begin to develop and directly understand what appears now. Like earlier when I was unpacking, I heard someone asking about the difference between conceptual understanding and direct understanding. By considering that what is touched now is just hardness, not a Vedana, not a sound, not a computer, just hardness. By considering the truth that nothing is there at all, it is a condition for the understanding to grow until it directly understands. It is just hardness now. And this is the truth, no matter whether one's heard about it or not. And this is what is Abhidhamma, subtle Dhamma. It's life at this moment. It's not a theory or construct or something in the book. It's life at this very moment now, to be understood right now. So whatever we read about or study about or discuss has to come back to the truth right now.
So Chanti, what Sarah is trying to convey is that it's the world of nimittas, regardless of who it is. Even the Buddha, if it wasn't because of nimitta, there wouldn't be the recognition of Sariputta and Mahamoggallana, and there wouldn't be the world as we know it, the teachings as we know it, or anything at all. The only difference is that for us, it's the world of nimitta followed with ignorance and no understanding that this world is in reality just one moment of arising and falling away. And what we take for a visible object or seeing is actually many, many moments of visible object and many, many moments of seeing. So that's the difference. It's understanding and not understanding.
And the aim is not to look for or try to find nothingness, but to understand that seeing now is just a Dhamma. There is no self there, no one that sees, no one that experiences, and it's gone instantly, never to arise again, ever. That moment of seeing can never occur again, completely empty of self. This is the meaning of nothingness. It's gone, no self there to be found, no self to be found that experiences or can do anything, that can practice or simplify or understand, because there is no I, no self to be found. Seeing sees, hearing hears, understanding understands. No self at all. Nothing left after the seeing has fallen away, the hearing has fallen away. And I'd like to ask Jyotika. So Jyotika, because you've mentioned many times you had the long background in meditation, and then you appreciate now hearing more about the truth of realities. So what is so precious or important about understanding the truth now?
Jyotika, you are muted.
We can't hear you, Jyotika. Yes.
Right at the moment, what happens when you are Sarah, when you are talking, that there is no thing. And I thought, no thingness is the truth, but the thingness is then the nimitta. What we see,
And-
for example, you said hardness. This is the hardness, but I say computer. This computer is the nimitta, the way the hardness is showing or is packed. I don't know. This is.
And instead of thinking about how the hardness is showing or packed, what about at the moment of touching? What is experienced at the moment of touching?
The hardness.
Hardness. No packed, no computer, no thing there
No,
at all.
That is thinking again.
Thinking. So it's just hardness that is touched. And
Yeah, it becomes
straight away there's an impression of something there. And that is thinking already, not even in words, but the idea of something there, which is different from just hardness that is touched.
But when you say that the seeing, I don't know, it's very rare, maybe, to really see with the direct experience. But the seeing from things, that is done nimitta.
Jyotika, the function of taking any experience or object of experience for something is that of wrong understanding. So when we refer to taking some realities for something, we're not talking about nimitta in particular, because even panya would have nimitta as object, but the difference is that the panya will understand the characteristic of the reality, whereas wrong understanding would take, say, hardness for something like a table or even before the idea of table as just something is touched.
Yeah, I cannot follow so quick.
Maybe important to say that it's not that we will see a different world. We still will see the conventional world.
Yeah.
But Sukinder is referring to two different kinds of nimitta, actually. The one that is composed, built of many, many moments of thinking and sanya. So that makes an experience of a table or a body. And we call that concept and nimitta too. But there are also nimittas of very tiny, 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 tiny reality moments. And these we don't know directly yet. But maybe
No,
Panya.
actually what is known, actually what is known, even if it's satipatthana, low-level satipatthana, it's the nimitta. Any level of understanding knows this nimitta. Vipassana yana experiences nimitta. The Buddha's wisdom experiences the nimitta. But the difference is the strength of understanding, the level of understanding. So the same object, nimitta is the object, but what the panya that arises to experience that, understand, that's a difference.
The hardness, for example. Panya understands hardness.
I think I understand, Jyotika. I think, how difficult it is, because we're trying to put together all these different concepts, these different terms that people express, and I think they can certainly all be helpful in their own way. I always feel it's so helpful just to go back to the present moment. Tanajan would probably ask you, what do you see now? Or what is experienced? What is seen? If I asked you, what is seen now? What would you, no, what is seen? Seen. What is seen now?
Yeah, she said the screen. Screen.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought it was a mispronunciation. Okay. Well, look, you probably realize you actually can't see screen. You think a screen. So what do you think may be seen? It's not the screen. What are the other options?
Yeah, then I know color and form.
That's right. That's all that's seen. And then you think about screen. I think it's so helpful to come back to Dhamma as it appears, so you must, for example, as I speak, what can be experienced?
When you speak, then it's here.
There is sound, right?
The sound, yeah.
There is sound here, right. Which is the object of what? Sound is the object of what? What nama? It's not easy, I know. Look, it's very difficult. It's the object of hearing. Sound is the object of hearing.
Oh, yeah, of hearing, yeah.
Okay? And little by little, we can build up a profile of theoretical understanding, or this is the beginning, we can say, of pariyatti, because pariyatti is the understanding, the intellectual understanding, if you like, that the realities that we talk about can be known in present time reality. In present time, they can be experienced at this present moment, like sound now. That can be experienced now. It's real. But there must be a reality, which Tanajan was speaking about this earlier today. Those are often hidden. Those realities which experience, like hearing or seeing, let's take hearing, for example, that's not obvious. Sound can be known, but hearing's very different. It's very hidden. And it takes a lot of wisdom to be able to begin to understand nama as nama and rupa as rupa. That takes a lot, but we have to hear about those, because that's all there is. There's only nama, the reality which experiences, and there's only rupa, the other two realities, rupa, that which can be experienced, but in itself does not know anything. I mean, even I know that what I've just said over the last couple of minutes, then it does, because we don't hear this. We don't hear this outside. We don't read about it normally. 99.9% of the time, we don't hear those things. And we can begin to appreciate that, as Tanajan would say, is it true? Is it true? Does it seem real? That sound, that the reality which doesn't know anything, does that seem real to you? Is sound real? Well, we can answer, yes, certainly it can be. Certainly it must be real, because it can be known. It's the object of hearing. And this is what we call the beginning of pariyatti, if you like. It's not just building up an intellectual, book knowledge about all these different realities. It's about seeing that it's happening now.
Yeah, it's happening
Jody,
now.
and this is what is Abhidhamma. It's now. It's at this moment.
It's very beautiful.
And I paused because I had a cough, but so we're just mentioning, so a touching, you said it's just hardness that's touched, no layers of books or not a computer, just that which is touched for a moment.
I want to say one thing to Sundara. Sorry. Is it okay, Sarah? I said one thing to Sundara. Last time I heard the word bread and butter from
the
Dhamma, I think, and I would like you to to tell more about bread and the butter?
Well, I'm conscious it's very late now. We can talk about it another time if you like. But essentially, when I was speaking to Alberto, I believe it was, that there are certain dhammas that are our foundational grounding for enabling the growth of understanding. So when we talk about bread and butter, my mother used to use that expression. It's like the basics. Yes. What are the basics? And what are the basics? That's what I mean by bread and butter. And these is what referred to what's called 7 Wisya Dhammas. Wisya means locality or a place, if you like. But they refer to the visual object, which you know about, sound, which we've been talking about. There's also rasa, which is taste. And we've also got smell. So, and then we've got those other 3 bodily dhammas that relate to patuwi, which is hardness or softness. Patuwi is the earth element. Patuwi, which is degrees of hardness or softness. And then we've got temperature, tejo, which is degrees of hot or cold. And we've got wayo, which is degrees of pressure. So those 7, they're called the Wisya Dhammas. They're the bread and butter of the development of understanding. We can put many other facets of the Dhamma together, but Tanajan is always talking about those Dhammas. And of course, the realities that experience, but they're often very hidden. They're not known, the reality that hears. We can hear, sound is experienced, but is the reality which experiences the nama, is that truly known? Is that truly known? And it takes, this is why the first, I know I've just said enough now because I'm conscious it's very late. And it's a great question. I'd really like you to ask Sarah or Tanajan about it, perhaps another time, because my clock says we're over time and I'm sure Tanajan has something she would like to do. But Tanajan Cup, thank you so much for being with us again and giving us so much of your time.
I think it's time we...
I appreciate everyone understanding and interest. Sawadee ka.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ajahn.